Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with Learn Plan Profit. Hope that you guys are all having a good start to the morning. Market literally just opened. I'm going to start sharing my screen so you guys can see exactly what it is that I have going on, and then we can go from there. So I really hope that you guys enjoy this stream. It looks like crude oil is still selling off, meaning that DWT is still pushing up. DWT, I ended up selling my position right before 642, and it looks like literally almost, actually no, when I sold, it pulled back, bounced off the middle VWAP, and then continued to uptrend. So overall, crude oil is still selling off, being in favor of DWT. One of the things that I do want to point out is that, again, there's no question that crude oil right now is a little bit more on the oversold side. Can it continue to sell off? Of course, anything can happen, right? But just because anything can happen doesn't mean that that should justify a reason to get in or to try to buy the reversal. So I'm going to give it a couple of seconds for everyone to start tuning on in. And there it goes. It just had a huge sell off. It just broke below 55.71. Meaning that DWT just pushed above 650, and there we go, 650, 651, showing signs of an uptrend. And yeah, it looks like DWT is off to a great start in the morning. I do want to point out that a total of $1,111 were made during pre-market hours for DWT. And again, if you guys are not familiar, let me accept these people on the TechBuds page. One of the things that if you are new to Learn Plan Profit, there's this channel within our Discord chat named Trade Ideas. I could only post here, and from 5:21 a.m. I've been keeping everyone up to date with my, the way that I see value in /CL, when I found it to be overbought, when I found it to be oversold, and pretty much the two major points that I pointed out were this one and this one. When /CL were overbought and due for a pullback, and it made sense on why it could pull back. So as of right now, I would say that /CL, at least in my eyes, is a little bit more on the oversold side, meaning that it might be due for a potential push up. Right now, it's still a descending pattern, and one of the things that I want to remind you is that this thing can continue to sell off. One of the things that I also do want to point out is the market is overall changing directions. This is where it closed at. It was showing signs of an uptrend, and then now began to trade in between the middle and bottom VWAP. So you're going to see companies that follow the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 start going from green, as they were during pre-market hours, all the way down to red. So you're going to see this for if I'm not mistaken, almost everything. Well, Tesla's a little bit different. Tesla kind of runs on its own schedule, like we've seen before. Once Tesla actually loads, let's give it, all right, there you go. But regardless, it's still actually pulling back. So I think that's something very important to kind of pay attention to. So DWT still pushing up. There it goes, 654, 655, still showing signs of an uptrend, and making /CL look even a little bit more on the oversold side. And if you look at previous patterns, if you go on the 1 day, 1 minute chart, it actually does have quite a bit of margin to kind of give back, especially with how much it pushed up yesterday, and now trading below, the SMA line. This is just a very aggressive sell-off. It makes sense on why it can continue to sell off, but it also makes sense on why it will slowly begin to recover. So I would simply give it a little bit more time if you need a little bit more of a clear direction, right? And right here we kind of have a better indication of what was going on right on the 20-day 1 hour chart. So on the 1 day 1 minute chart, again, /CL still selling off. Looks like DWT is still trying to push up. But so when are we going to go live in the pre-market? One of the reasons that I don't go live during pre-market hours is we have a decent amount of Learn Plan Profit members that have a simulation trading account. And by having a simulation trading account, you're not allowed to trade during pre-market hours or during extended hours, which means both pre and after. If you guys are open to it, I've done it before. We just got a lot of people, and their feedback was I can't trade during that time because of the simulation trading account. So if you guys are open to it, I can trade. I know some of you guys can trade during extended hours, and if I see an opportunity to present itself, then I'm all for it. So I don't know about tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be the crude oil report, so I don't want to go live. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I have a cold. I just took a shower just so I look a little bit more refreshed, but I have a sore throat. I have like a runny nose and stuff like that. So I do apologize, and I'm just like, I was trading off of my bed, right? And I just don't think that that's going to be the best thing to try to trade pre-market, trade all normal market, and then trade for the crude oil report. That's just going to be a little bit too long for me since I don't want to trade that long. So I would love to see you trading pre-market. Okay, yeah, we can definitely do it. Looks like a good amount of you want to see it happen. So let's do it. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow, but I'll definitely add it to my schedule when it comes down to one of these up and coming trading sessions. Yeah. Now I got good sleep, kind of like, yeah. There it goes. We should probably see higher highs right now. Can we hit highs of 660? So it's kind of like FOMO, right? Because we're part of all this, and then it pulled back, bounced off of this, and it's just been showing signs of an uptrend, and that's great. But one of the things that I have to remind myself again is, just making sure I do my part in getting in for a good deal, right? I'm already so close to my daily goal, right? And especially with yesterday's red day, right? Closing a little bit over $700. Here it goes. We should see a push up. There it goes. We're at 659. Looks like it pulled back. Market dropping. Yeah, so again, just like we talked about in yesterday's video, I know I don't make many videos like yesterday's video. If you guys didn't check it out, we got kind of a mixed amounts of feedback. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people liked just how I normally recap. We just wanted to change things up. I wanted to give more of a reasoning behind why crude oil and why natural gas began to uptrend. And some people really liked it. I feel like it gives people much more insight other than just the technical aspect, kind of like what to look for. So if you guys did not watch yesterday's video, I would encourage you to, it's like 7 minutes long. And I think it goes over a lot of information that if you do focus on crude oil and if you do focus on natural gas, it would be worth knowing, at least in my opinion. So there it is, right? Looks like we're experiencing somewhat of a resistance, right? Looks like it's peaking out, looking at the RSI, looking at the MACD. So it makes sense on why it can pull back, but there it goes. Again, a perfect example is yesterday, right? Me trying to trade against /CL and that overall uptrend pattern. So where's the video posted? On my YouTube channel. And I post all my videos within 24 hours. So these have to be removed. So if they're older than 24 hours, then I'll remove them off of this, right? But it's this one. So what caused natural gas and crude oil to recover today? So feel free to check it out. And I always post it in the announcement section for the Learn Plan Profit group. So here it goes. We're at 659. Here it goes. Looks like crude oil is going to continue to drop. Looks like we're going to hit 660 right now. It's crazy to see something change direction so quickly. I don't know if you guys were seeing, but it almost looked like DWT was going to continue to sell off. It almost made lower lows and kind of these lower highs. But then ultimately right around 6 o'clock, there's like this report that comes out. It's for crude oil. This report that comes out at 6 o'clock, and it looks like as soon as that came out, it just ultimately changed its direction. Also, a lot more people are allowed to trade 30 minutes before the market opens. I think like that allows like Robinhood traders or a lot of other brokerages can then begin to trade and not just like accounts similar to like TD Ameritrade. So we just saw like right around 6 o'clock, a nice shift, right? And then it just overall just changed its direction. So there it goes. Explain to me what, can you go over your time axis for a quick second? What do you mean by that? So you're talking about my time frames. There it goes, 660. Oh. There it goes. Looks like crude oil is still pushing up. Yeah. Yeah, it is in the LPP course as well. But I don't know exactly what it is that you're trying to see here. It's pretty... my expansion area is 200, if that's something that you're looking for. Here it goes. Definitely missed out. Oh, wow. Look at natural gas. Okay. Look at that. Still showing signs of a sell-off. Did this almost like head and shoulders, right? It's almost triple top, and then now beginning to show signs of a potential sell-off. How many of you guys feel like the market is all over the place right now? I'm just asking. I'm trying to get your guys' input. I can see why some of you or a lot of people right now might feel uncertain, right, with how the market conditions are currently doing. Yeah. So there's a lot of inconsistencies. So can I ask you something? When there's inconsistencies, what does that mean? A lot of us are day traders, right? So especially even for swing traders, when there's inconsistencies, what is something that you might want to focus on a little bit more? So we got Edwin saying don't trade. Okay. Patience, simulation trades, direction, risk management. Being more selective. I like that, Chris. Quality trades. Kenneth, I like that. Being more selective, Jonathan. Yep, being very selective and patient. You guys have the idea, right? Risk management, all of that just is definitely coming into place. My biggest focus now, some of you guys might be asking, well, Ricky, you called out crude oil, right? And that it could continue to sell off, and it just continuously aggressively sold off. Why didn't you get in, right, when we went live, and why didn't you sell there, right? Well, first of all, if I was so certain that it would continue to push up, then of course I would. But one of the things that I'm noticing is that, again, I want to be even that much more selective with the direction and making sure that I'm not getting in due to FOMO or for the hope that it's going up. And especially me being so close, I'm just explaining kind of like my thought process. Me being so close to my daily goal, it really means that I just have to take possibly one more trade and then I could be done for the day, especially for someone that doesn't feel well right now. At the end of the day, with the market acting the way that it is and there being these inconsistencies and just the idea of like, wow, like crude oil is aggressively pushing up, it's not pulling back, or we just got the alert that natural gas broke below the SMA line and it's continuously selling off, which is in favor of Diaz and that nice push up, right? Or the overall market /NQ just showing signs of an aggressive sell-off and going from uptrending to descending. At the end of the day, right, it just means that I have to be that much more selective. So I'm not, and I know that this might be annoying, team, and I know I'm told all the time that I'm super repetitive, but I just want to remind you that one of my biggest focuses, and it's going to be the video that I'm going to be making right after this live stream, it's just the focus of, don't put yourself in a bad position just to take a trade. We always try to like keep in the back of our heads like, okay, market just opened, it's time to trade. One of the things that I would like you to focus on, if it's okay for me to ask for, is to truly allow an opportunity to present itself. To actually allow an opportunity to present itself. Not a trade that's, okay, I'll take it, right? But with the market being so inconsistent, I just want to remind you how much more important it is to trade less, right? How much more important it is to truly allow the opportunity to present itself and to wait for that confirmation for that buy. Because at the end of the day, just ask yourself, how many times have you gotten in too early and how did that trade play out? And if it's because you got in too early and then it changes directions or it doesn't go according to plan, then what is one simple thing that you can do? Simply give it more time. That's all, right? And again, I'm sorry if I'm just continuously drilling you with the same basic, idea, but I think that this very same basic idea is something that a lot of people overlook. And if you look back on a couple of your trades that maybe were not successful, ask yourself, if you would have just been more patient, would you have actually taken that trade if you would have waited for confirmation? Because it would have gone either way. It would have never actually confirmed, so you would have never actually taken the position, right? Or if it did confirm, then you could have taken part of when the action was actually happening and being so much more efficient, right? So it's, again, it's not about being a fancy trader or to try to make the most money on every single trade. You have to remind yourself that you have to build your confidence, you have to build your experience, and also, not every trade is going to go according to plan, so we're going to have to manage our risk as well. But by allowing ourselves and planting and putting ourselves in a position for success, we're more bound to take action when it actually makes sense. So, as of right now, it looks like crude oil was trying to consolidate, right? So 3 stages of a reversal: rejection, consolidation, and then potential, confirmation. But we're just not getting it, right? It's just continuously selling off and no confirmation there. When we go to /NG, it looks like we're potentially trying to find a support here, right? So if natural gas then continues to uptrend, then great. But if not, then again, so UGAS is confirming. I wouldn't say that UGAS is confirming, right? It's still selling off. The EMA line is still pointing down. How do we know when UGAS is confirming? Again, when it's making higher highs and higher lows, and it still has so much to prove. Again, allow the opportunity to prove itself to you. Don't just take it and put yourself in a bad position. It's very simple little things that we can do that can make a big difference, team. So /CL, we're getting a lot of consolidation around this general area. Yeah, but no confirmation. It looks like crude oil might continue to sell off, especially with so much consolidation. The MACD looks like it's already almost going through its full reversal. So if it continues, even if it goes up, and there it goes. Looks like DWT might continue to rally once again. Okay, Zachary, I like that. Congrats. There it goes. DWT just made higher highs. Yeah, Jalen, let me go ahead and break it down for you. And I'm sorry that I'm talking a little bit slow today again, team. So one of the things that I want to point out, and again, this is just my opinion, so please just take it as that, and you can agree with me or you can disagree with me, and I'll respect your opinion as well. But what I see here is, I've talked about it multiple times, it was a descending pattern. It recently broke above the SMA line and started to trend up. Ever since this pattern, it's been selling off and it's been making lower lows and these lower highs, right? Now it's trading below the SMA line, and based off of recent patterns, looking at the RSI and looking at the MACD, it looks like it's in the very early stages, just like we called out last week, for a potential sell-off to then even make lower lows and lower highs. In my opinion, and based off of just my technical analysis, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like to me. If you agree, great. If it makes sense to you, great. If you don't agree, then 100%, that's great as well. Just identify the pattern that you see value in, set up a plan for success, and then allow the opportunity to present itself. But as of right now, based off of how it's trading, it would make sense to me on why this thing would potentially continue to sell off and make lower lows based off of its previous performance. So feel free to share your own opinion about it if you'd like to do so. So there it goes. Oh, what's going on, Ryan? What's up? What's up? Long time no see. Nice of you to join us today. Here we go. Here we go, team. Jonathan, again, well, now that you're aware of potentially bag holding, just understand that the potential loss that Tesla doesn't, at that point, hasn't sold off too much. And again, it has a lot more margin to sell off. So if you think that just, stopping the bleeding now can at least prepare you for tomorrow, then why not, right? Can you have the MVP, LPP members? Yeah, what's the purpose behind that? Maybe like rewarding our LPP members based off of their performance, like once a month, right? Not just performance, but maybe like group efforts. That could be something. Oh, I appreciate that, Jalen. Thank you. But again, let's wait for confirmations of lower low and see if it actually continues to sell off. So, Ali is asking, what trade did you take today? I was trading, if you look into the trade ideas for the Learn Plan Profit Discord chat, I was trading DWT. So Oscar saying, I agree with Ricky, free pizza to the best trader. IIPR. So IIPR. Not too sure, Alex, why it's not showing, but I'll for sure break it down for you. Here it goes. Okay, so it looks like it was showing the very consistent signs of an uptrend, aggressively sold off. It did a lot of consolidation, and now it's in the very early stages. So I think one of two things can happen here. It's so close to the SMA line, and the SMA line used to act as a support, so now this could act as a resistance. So I can see why it is that you see value in this, because you might be thinking that, okay, well, this has a lot of margin to push up. I would say that right now it's at a critical point where this could potentially be its resistance. So you buying here could actually mean that if it does sell off, you literally bought at the highest price point. So what I would do is I would give it time, and I know that's annoying, but I would give it time for it to confirm and start to trade again back above the SMA line, because that is originally what you saw value in, if I'm not mistaken. It's not this that you saw value in, it's this pattern that showed signs of growth, but it broke that pattern. So now we wanted to get back and confirm that. If you get in before the confirmation, then you have to accept the risk when it comes down to that, right? So that's just my 2 cents. Naveen, congrats. That's a big day. August 20th. I like that. Do you usually only do one trade a day? So, Jesus, I don't know if this is the first time that you're tuning in, but no, I normally take like day trades, probably 4 to 5 a day on average. I would say at least. Sometimes I trade a lot more, but recently I've been trying to be a little bit more selective. So, yeah, I hope that helps. But again, I'm gonna be making a video, Jesus, a little bit later today. Not a little bit later, literally right after this live stream, because right after this live stream, I'm gonna make myself some soup and then probably try to get some more rest. As you guys get, for those that are tuning in a little bit late, I don't feel too good. So I'm gonna be making a video about like the amount of trades to take. I get this question so much of like, when's the best time to take a trade? When's the best time to trade throughout, normal trading hours? People think that because sometimes I do well during pre-market hours, that you have to trade at that time, and that's just not how it works. at the end of the day, what it comes down to is when the opportunity presents itself. So I'm just going to make a video, and I think I can give some pretty good examples to give people a better understanding, a more real understanding of why it's so important to be selective with your trades, right? So I recently scaled, and I am seeing more red than green. Tyler, I don't know if this has to do with one of the things, and one of the reasons that I really began to average up was because I started feeling less comfortable going all in right away. So I don't know if that's something that you want to take into consideration, but averaging up, meaning that I take a smaller position size when I first get in, played a huge role in making me feel much more comfortable with my trades, and not, again, just trying to focus on scaling, but to try to think about money as a tool. And now that I have more tools with what I'm trading with, I can, then do a lot more, right? So I would just, if you think it might be something with the emotional aspect or something like that of dealing with the larger dollar amount, then maybe scale a little bit down. And again, there's no reason to rush into it. We have nothing but time, right? Ali, appreciate that. Thank you. NASDAQ is oversold. Gabriel, yep, I do see that. So /CL, okay. CL at EMA. Can one of you guys point out very quickly why, looking at this, why I might not want to get in right now? So it has nothing to do really with confirmation so far, but why with right now, like, okay, it's above the EMA line, why not get in right now? What is one indicator that's very commonly used when it comes down to potentially seeing a potential divergence, right? The MACD, right? Mace got it. Okay, all of you guys have it. You guys are doing much better than myself, as that took me a really long time to catch on that pattern. And what we are talking about is, it was selling off, right? So this MACD goes through this full reversal, and then it slowly begins to uptrend, right? But then the MACD becomes already so overextended that it's still around that EMA line, that it will then just begin to descend here, and then this will create the MACD to descend. So it will go through the full MACD reversal, right? While it's still completely under this EMA line. And this usually happens when there's a very strong uptrend or a very strong downtrend. And this is why it's so important, and I try to emphasize the importance behind that, is that, indicators are to be used as a reference and to never be solely the reason behind the trade. So if we see, even if this was like all the way all the way up here, and if there's just a strong uptrend, then it makes sense on why we can still trade this, right? If the overall pattern and price action is actually following, then great. That outweighs any indicator. But one of the things I just want you guys to know is that sometimes we do see, kind of like we saw here, right, where it goes through this potential reversal, the MACD is beginning to curl up, and then it just gets rejected and continues to sell off. So it just continues this, this indicator wasn't very useful at that point because it literally just continued to sell off, and this was like a false MACD reversal. So that's what I want to point out. So hey Ricky, check out IIPR. It's above that top VWAP. Yeah, I did get the alert right now. I just wouldn't be interested in trading it because I still find it to be very close to that SMA line, which again, it doesn't have to get rejected exactly at that price point. It just means that around that general area it can get rejected. So SQs, swing trade. So Evan, I know exactly why. Dang, my throat hurts. I know exactly why you're bringing this to my attention, because the overall market is selling off, and if you're betting on the market continuously selling off, then it makes sense on why you're paying attention to SQs. I just want to remind you that all day yesterday, SQs was selling off, right? Today, it's a green day. I just think that if you look a little bit further based off of recent patterns, yeah, it could be in the very early stages of a potential, reversal, and I do agree on that. I just think that the market has been so inconsistent. I'd rather day trade something than swing trade it. But if you're certain and you're going to manage your risk and you have a plan for success, that I'll stand behind you. I just want to remind you how inconsistent the market has been. I'm just here to be, that annoying person that just will always try to, point out the risk, right? And I hope that that's something that's okay, right? There it goes. It looks like the MACD is still pushing up, so we can give this a little bit more time. Of course, appreciate you. According to you, what's a good entry point for UWT? I would not get into UWT. I actually think that it's going to get rejected here. Looking at the MACD, if it doesn't actually continue to make higher highs, I actually think that we're going to see this thing break below the EMA line and continue to sell off. The MACD is already so overextended that it makes sense on why it can, why it will most likely pull back. So I think if it does rally a little bit more, it might. It's just such a strong downward pattern right now that I don't think that the margin of profit outweighs the margin of loss. And that's just my opinion. Again, I can be completely wrong, but just based off of my opinion and what I'm seeing right now, I think that it's just bound to pull back a little bit. Unless we see higher high confirmations, then, it looks like then the crude oil is actually trying to recover. So, of course, thank you again for asking, Matthew. So I think we've been live for about 30 minutes. I really do apologize if I'm cutting it almost exactly at that 30-minute mark, team. I just, like I was telling you guys, oh, there it goes. I might take a trade on DWT if it continues to rally. Let's see. Let's see. I was going to close it out, but if I'm going to trade, I would leave it on. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to get in with... Looks like I missed out. Crude oil just broke below /CL, as you guys can see here, right? Crude oil just broke below the EMA line. What did I say? That didn't make any sense. All right. Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate it. So I'm waiting for lower lows on crude oil to form. So by lower lows forming, do you see the MACD curling down, right? So right now I'm in with 25%, so about 1/4. So not a crazy amount. So now what I'm waiting for is for lower lows to form. Because if this thing continues to push up, then I'll have to cut losses on DWT, right? And that's one of the risks that happens when you get in maybe before confirmation. So we did break below the EMA line once and then or twice, and then right now we're holding above it. So just a heads up on that. So OSTK just broke above 1977. There it goes. I want to see how natural gas is performing. So it looks like we're almost formulating the same potential reversal where it's a really strong downward pattern, and I would really need good confirmation of higher highs. One of the things that I'm paying attention to is, again, crude oil. So this is pretty much what I'm watching right now. Alrighty. Yeah, I'll give you an example right now. Well, I try to, Brian, so to kind of put it into perspective, like I try to look for like a continuous pattern, right? So right now, we're in the very early stages that if it actually does begin to make higher highs, um, you know, like we're gonna have to give it time for it to like outweigh all the indicators, because right now these indicators are all pointing and saying that it's overbought and overextended, right? So because of that, and there it goes, it looks like it's pushing up, so I'm gonna have to keep a close eye. And let's see, I'm still gonna try to manage my risk at less than 1% for that 25% position size. I still think that's important. Here we go. So again, there's like no question that you can see the MACD and the RSI, and right now we are getting higher highs, but it's not even just about that. Remember, it's like, okay, yeah, we do want to be a part of something that's showing signs of growth, but we also want to make sure that the margin of profit is worth it. But because it's already so overextended, I don't think that it's bound to push up too much. And there it goes. So this is where I'm going to have to manage it. So I'm going to go back to DWT. We're approaching this like middle VWAP area, so I'm just keeping an eye here, and we're right around that 1% mark for my position. So this is where I'm gonna have to watch very closely. If the bid breaks below 654, that's where I'm gonna have to cut it. So I'll just set a well, we're already so close that yeah. All right, so I sold at 653. We broke below the middle VWAP, and again, I just want to make sure that the overall pattern stays true to it. So just so you guys can see, I was up $1,111, and I gave back about $270, so that's about 1%. And that's fine. Again, my position size was pretty small. It could still go either way. I still think it still doesn't change my thought on crude oil. I still think crude oil is overextended, no question about it. I'm just gonna have to wait for a little bit more confirmation, just because right now it looks like it's still trying to push up. So because of that, again, I'm all for it. I hope that it, the more that it pushes up, the more margin I have for this thing to potentially sell off. So I just have to be more patient. But I wanted to show you guys, right now, although I still think it's going to pull back, anything can happen, and I just don't want to take part of this if it continues to shoot up. So right now we are seeing higher highs. I just don't see this thing to potentially continue to push up. And if it does, then great. Then I would be wrong, right? I just don't find that to be very likely just because of the strong downward pattern. So I'm going to leave it at this, and then I can simply follow up. But it looks like it's already formulating its kind of peak, right? And then maybe I can decide to get in there. So locked in profits on UWT. Congrats. So I really do appreciate your guys' time. I hope that you guys either learned something new or found something that we talked about in today's video somewhat helpful. Just give me a couple of minutes, and then I'll be uploading today's new video, and then we can kind of go from there. So like always, guys, continue working hard, continue following dreams, let your passion be what drives your success. Hope that you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Looks like /CL is pulling back. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.